All right, chat. So we're gonna watch this one next. The last video of the night, the most Netflix movie of all time by Critical Drinker and asmongold. So let's check this one out.
Real Netflix cannot stop Netflixing. You want to know what I think is the funniest thing about this topic?
Gentlemen?
The funniest thing about this is the fact that this is apparently real, but people are so fatigued from forced DEI that they view an actual historical depiction of something that happened during, I think, World War II as being fake.
Gentlemen? My wife
That's
and I
crazy.
have been talking about the problems.
That's crazy. I didn't know this was a real story. I literally saw this on Netflix too, and I was like, nah, this is not for me, dude. I don't want to watch one of those. Like literally what he just said.
We are having with the mail.
This cannot be real.
The Postal Battalion?
It's not real. Nobody would make a show about this.
This is our mission! And we will not fail!
Oh my god,
The
it is
6888.
real.
Oh my God!
Allow me to pose you a question, dear viewer.
Uh-huh.
When you think of the heroes
my
of the Second
God.
World War, what do you imagine in your mind? Could it be the first wave of British and American soldiers who went ashore?
I know what people on Twitter would say if you say, imagine the heroes of World War II. I know what they would say.
Oof. I think
I
of
got a good feeling about what
Saving
they
Private
might
Ryan.
say.
Saving Private
A
Ryan.
storm of fire and metal on the beaches of Normandy? Maybe the Soviet conscripts, starving and badly equipped, who charged to almost certain death across the frozen, blasted hellscape of Stalingrad?
Oh.
Perhaps the Marines slogging through the steaming jungles and islands of the Pacific against a fanatically determined enemy? Well, if your answer fell into any of those categories, then clearly...
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
Because as everyone knows, the truly heroic battle of the
That's
Second
right,
World War
Baldy.
was sorting a backlog of undelivered mail.
Oh,
I just...
Chat, do you guys know, is this what this movie's about? Male ladies?
can't, man. Like, what are we even doing here? That right there is the subject of Netflix's compelling new show, The 6888, based on the real-life exploits... Wait, is exploits really the word I'm looking for here?
Uh-oh.
The real-life administrative task that was carried out by the American 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion during World War II.
So it's real.
And no, I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
And I know this totally isn't how unit designations work, but I really love the idea that there's almost 7,000 postal battalions in the US Army. We don't get much fighting done in this here...
7,000 postal battalions? And
Why
how
so
much we spend
many?
on this shit every year?
Why so many?
Damn, do they have email? I guess they didn't have email back
Nah,
then.
they don't have email, dude. It's a long time ago, bro.
Army, but goddamn, our letters
Yeah.
arrive on time every
They
time.
didn't have cell
The
phones.
gist of the show, and I'm going to do my best to make this sound as dramatic as possible here, is that by 1944 there was a massive backlog of mail to and from the hundreds of thousands of men fighting on the front lines in Europe.
Obviously,
Naturally,
yeah.
this was bad for morale because soldiers like to get news from their families back home, so the army assigned the 6888 battalion to tackle the problem.
Yeah.
And they did, by working quickly and efficiently to sort and deliver letters.
Good for them.
So this is a war movie about the post office? Is this what this is about? Like I said, I saw it and I thought it was a war movie with a bunch of girls in it. I was like, probably gonna skip this one, Netflix. But I didn't know it was the postal service. Maybe I'll watch it.
I mean, that's it, really.
Really?
So why exactly were Netflix keen to make a multi-million-dollar TV show about it?
You mean the White Women's Army Corps? Or is there another?
Well, I think you know why. Isn't it funny when studios are fully aware that their
Oh,
output's
no.
grown so ridiculous that it's literally
Here it
become a
comes.
meme? And instead of
Porsche.
course correcting to prove their detractors wrong, they just say, fuck it.
This is the problem.
Swear.
What is the movie? Denzel Washington. I believe a number of other, like, insanely famous, very prolific black actors in the same general type of topic. Which one was it? Glory? Was it Glory? Yes. Yep, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. See, we already had one of these that came out, and people loved this fucking movie. People thought this movie was great. 7.5, a 95, a 78.
Going all in, boys. Like,
Yeah.
I can totally get behind the idea of telling lesser known
I just want to point out that we have watched some of Asmongold's videos here on the channel. We have watched some other content creators' channels, and that intergalactic scene has popped up in so many hilarious situations. Whoever thinks some game is going to be good, I hope you're right, dog. I hope you're right.
stories or promoting the unsung heroes of World War II, especially ones from more diverse backgrounds that you don't tend to hear much
You're right, but it's not women. That's a fact.
about, and there's a plethora of stuff
Yeah.
to choose from if you care to look for it. Like Virginia Hall, a distinguished OSS field agent who worked in occupied Europe, created an entire spy network by herself, helped to arm French commandos, and was the only female civilian to receive the Distinguished Service Cross. Or the Tuskegee Airmen, an all-black fighter unit who flew bomber escort missions over Europe and were credited with destroying or damaging over 400 enemy aircraft. Or Ludmila Pavlichenko, a Russian sniper known as Lady Death by her enemies, who was the most successful female sniper of the war with over 300 confirmed kills.
Why, I thought that was on 4chan.
Or Vernon Baker,
I'm starting to see a couple of trends here. Maybe why they don't make these movies here. I'm kind of seeing two things that stick out to me, chat. What are they?
an African-American soldier who personally took out 3 German machine gun nests, a command post and a dugout after his platoon was pinned down by superior German forces and was eventually awarded the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Or the Night Witches, an all-female bomber regiment who took to the air in rickety old biplanes that were so overloaded the pilots couldn't even carry parachutes, who flew in pitch darkness and attacked German positions all along the Eastern Front.
That's
I could
kinda
go on
badass.
and on for hours listing people and groups who fought and often died for their countries in World War II and deserve a lot more recognition.
Man, I bet this would have sucked. Man, can you imagine that? That would suck so much dick. Oh my god. You think?
Dude, I don't know, man. Can you imagine actually like saying like, I don't know if I'd even be able to jump out, dude. I might be too much of a coward. Can you imagine that? Ugh.
Yeah, I do. This has been the worst fucking day of my life.
Maybe the end. Maybe
It's a
the
bad
last.
day, yeah.
Maybe the
Whose
last.
stories would lend themselves
Because like
pretty
you
easily-
think about like after you get done killing them all,
You're wet.
you're still wet,
You're wet and
and
cold.
you're gonna go to bed that night, and you're still wet. Like, and there's sand everywhere. Oh my god.
to a movie or TV show.
And yeah,
you're
that's if
telling
you're
me
not
that
dead.
This is the best you could come up with? Fucking postal workers? I
Yeah.
mean, no disrespect whatsoever to the real life women who actually did this work. I'm sure it was long and tedious and demanding by today's standards, but describing their story as heroic is a bit of a stretch, don't you think? It's not like they were fighting on the front lines and risking life and limb to deliver vital communications that would turn the tide of battle or anything.
Nope.
They were sorting mail in an admin building in England, and they didn't even get there until February 1945 when the war was practically over. Sorry ladies, but paper cuts and cold coffee isn't quite the same level of danger as storming an enemy
cuts.
bunker or facing down a German Tiger tank.
That's true.
Tell me, what else have you got in store for us, Netflix? The inspirational story of Bob from accounts and his attempts to file his backlog of TPS reports before the end of the tax year? Brenda's heroic last-minute push to have that PowerPoint presentation ready in time for the big corporate seminar?
Oh jeez.
Larry refusing to let a
Oh,
shortage
jeez.
of printer ink stop him from displaying warnings about leaving unwashed dishes in the break room? Fuck you, Larry, I do what I want.
It is pretty crazy if you think about it, though. It is pretty crazy that they would make this. I thought it was a war movie. I thought it was gonna be some BS war movie that I skipped. I didn't know it was a postal movie. Oh, I just don't get it. You know, I would have liked to see if I was to pick any. If I was one of all the things he talked about, the women the fighter pilots, or the all African American fighter pilots. Those two would probably be good movies.
Won't. Like I
Man.
said, I'm all for recognizing the lesser known.
But it looks like the women were all white. They're all white. And then the African Americans were men. Probably didn't fit what they were looking for, you know.
Contributions made during the war, but I don't think this is the way to go about it. Trying to frame every single person who performed even the most basic admin tasks in the safest environment possible as a hero isn't just a disingenuous attempt to pretend that chosen demographic group number
Damn,
two
I saw everybody put their arm up like that. I said, wait a minute, what side are they on? I was confused for like half a second. I said, what the fuck?
contributed just as much as everyone else, but it's pretty fucking disrespectful to the actual heroes who fought and died for their countries. Those two things are not the same, so stop trying to pretend that they are. And honestly, it's tough to think of a better example of modern Hollywood entitlement and hubris, not to mention the complete lack of hardship and adversity faced by writers today, that this is what they consider a heroic and inspirational story. And as tempted as I am to watch it just for the unintentional...
So my question is, do they actually have to have, like, physical training? Because you see them in the scenes here. Is this just for the movie, or is this a reality? Chat, let me know. Chat, let me know. People on YouTube, let me know in the comments below. Do they actually get trained?
Lols, I think I'm gonna have to give the 6888 a dishonorable discharge. At ease, soldiers, because that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I feel like this one's not so bad. I feel like really it's I don't really even think this is this big of a deal. I think that this is actually not a big thing. It's not really a bad thing. I think the problem is that it exists inside of a culture that is now
tired of it,
so on edge and on guard for stuff like this that even an authentic recreation of something that actually happened is seen as inauthentic. And I think this is really kind of I'll link y'all the video here. I think this is really a great example of what I was talking about and what I've been talking about for a long time. About how when you start trying to put forward a narrative and shit for so long, people start seeing it when it's not even really there. Because I saw people discourse about this, and half the people that were talking about it thought it was fake. And I feel like, you know, what really...
Again, I didn't know this was real or what. I thought it was an army movie. I didn't know it was like a postal movie, so I thought it was like, you know, I saw it and I skipped it right away. I just thought it was another, like, one of these kind of movies, like you said. I didn't know it was real. I didn't know if it was, like, I didn't even care enough to check what it was, in all honesty. Like, I saw a Critical Drinker do it. I was gonna check out the video, then I saw Asmon do it, so I checked it out, right? And I honestly just skipped it right from the bat because, like you said, everybody's just tired of this stuff.
What are we really doing here? What are we accomplishing here? That's the way I see it, right? It's a side story no one's thought about. That's kind of cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with the movie, right? I don't. Like, and that's what I was saying, like, with Glory, right, or any of these other movies, like, the whole idea of, like, a minority regiment inside of a war, this is not the first time it's come out, and I feel like, again, it's cultural fatigue, because I think that if this movie had come out in the year 1996, I feel like we probably all would have watched it as kids. That's the reality. Probably I would have watched it. It would have been fine. But I think that there's a degree of just fatigue that's happened, and I think that this movie is an unfortunate receptor. And in school, yeah, we probably would have watched it. No, think about it, right? We probably would have had to watch a movie like this if this had come out in, like, let's say 1998, and you know, or whenever you were in elementary school or middle school, you probably would have had to. It would have been the day that you'd watch this movie.
I think it's a bad take on that one because I think in those time periods they're actually making relevant movies towards, like, the war and stuff like that. Like I said earlier, when Critical Drinker brought up the white women, right? Those white girls when they were flying. What, that would be a great story, but they're white. The African Americans who took over that one African American story, that would be a great movie, but he's a man. The ones with all the platoon, the whole African American fighter pilots, they're all men. We all know why this story was picked. Everybody in my chat, everybody in Asmon's chat, and everybody who watches this on YouTube, who's watching his channel, my channel, Critical Drinkers, we all know why this particular story was picked. We know why it might have been a little bit indulged, a little heightened. The experience might have been a little more heightened, a little more dramatic. We understand. I think we all know why. Because they had probably a DEI script. They had things that they wanted to do. They probably said, "Hey, we want to make a movie." Instead of saying, "Hey, we have these people, we want to make a movie," they probably said, "We have a movie. We need to hit this basis, and this basis. What can we make?" And they found it. They didn't. I don't think somebody said, "Oh my God, did you guys ever hear about the platoon that was the United Postal Services during the Army? Did you ever hear about that story? Oh, it's a great story. Let me tell you about it." I don't think that's how the script was brought up. I think the script was brought up with, we need X, Y, and Z. Find me a story that falls in that narrative from World War II. And I think a lot of people thought that when they saw the trailers and the previews and the poster art.
For sure. Abso-fucking-lutely. And people would have been like, all right, that's not so bad. Most likely, right? Directly to VHS release, yeah. And so I think that, again, this is really the best indicator. And like, this is, I love this video because this is what I've been trying to say. I've been trying to say that we're coming close to this. I've been trying to say, guys, this is going to happen. And people didn't want to listen. And now we have real stories that people think are fake because of the fatigue. That's it. You called it for a while ago. People become less tolerant. I know. Yeah, that's it. Comparing it to an actual war movie is a joke. I don't really think that's that big of a deal. Like, I mean, it's just about it's just marketing, right? I mean, that's it.
I would like to know, like I said, chat, I'll look it up probably later on my own. I'd like to know if they actually had to do like physical training for this. Like they had to actually be physically prepared like in a war. Because they make it seem like they're going to battle. Like the guy in the chat said.
I'd have to see the movie for myself. So many heroic African folks out there decided to do post-workers movie. I honestly, I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. Like, I
do. There's like that comment right there. So many heroic African American folks in World War II. Critical Drinker brought up two. That one African American who took out the whole, like the pillboxes. I think he said 3 pillboxes and or the machine gun pillboxes, whatever he said. He took out 3 of them on his own. I would rather see that story than this. Or the African American air pilots, like we said earlier. I'd rather see that than this. Hell, even the women ones, where they're the best sniper woman. I would like to see that story. American Sniper, Woman Edition. I bet that would sell. Because it's a good story. That's an amazing story. If she was better than most men. You know, she wasn't a Mary Sue. She was an actual real badass. And she like was one of the best snipers out there. I think that would sell. Men don't really care if you're a woman or not. Like, I know there's a lot of talk out there that men don't want to watch women do anything, but if you have a good movie, a good woman role, I think men will watch it. Simple as that. And I think it is a kind of rude or disservice to all African Americans who have done really badass things and they do not portray their stories, but instead, like I said, this movie was made with 3 things intended. We need X, Y, and Z. Find me a movie we can make within World War II.
I just don't like. I mean, I don't like. Sorry, I'm not really there. I'm not there for it. Yeah. So that if it's a problem, you want to make money. Yeah, maybe people might not. The marketing for it is weird though. Yeah, no doubt, right? I could easily see that. But anyway, I just want to say like this is the result. Is like you try to create narratives and do shit like this, and then eventually you have people calling history fake. That's it, and it's really sad to see it happen, man. It really is. But I think this is a great example, and it's what I've been talking about for a long time.
Well, that's the video, guys. I do think what he just said at the very end is a very serious thing. That if you keep doing stuff like this, you are you're gonna be discrediting a lot of people's stories out there, like you just said, and that's a pretty bad thing. So, all right, guys. So, chat. That's it for us tonight. We're gonna be logging off. If you guys made it here on the YouTube, if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys already liked and subscribed. If not, please consider it. Your boy's trying to make this YouTube and Twitch thing a real thing. We stream on Twitch every night. We do about 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours of gameplay. We're doing a lot of PoE right now. Maybe some Power World with a new update. And then we do some React content as well. So a little bit of both. So make sure you guys swing by. We have our TikTok, we have our Twitch, and our YouTube. So appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you, chat. Appreciate you, YouTubers. That's it, though. We done. We out.